finding a new dentist, it can be, it can be a bit of a process sometimes. A bit like trying to find a parking spot downtown during rush hour. We've all been there.
It really is. And
Yeah.
it's not just about finding someone who can, fill a cavity, right? It's got to be more than that. It's about trust and feeling comfortable with whoever's poking around in your mouth.
Exactly. And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting, I think. We're heading over to Staten Island, checking out this dentist, Dr. Joseph T. Mormino. And from what we've seen on his website, and by the way, we always encourage you guys to check out the source material, it seems like he's doing things a little differently over there.
Yeah. One thing that jumps out is how much he seems to get it, How some people just really don't like going to the dentist. Like really, really don't like it. He's put a lot of thought into making his practice a comfortable and welcoming space.
He really has. And not just like, oh, let's put up some nice paintings. I mean, his office is actually in an old house. They renovated the whole thing. Think more like cozy living room, less dentist's office,
Absolutely. It's all part of this trend we're seeing more and more in healthcare, patient-centered care. They even have gourmet coffee and worn neck pillows. It's about realizing that if you feel comfortable and relaxed, you're more likely to actually take care of your teeth.
Makes total sense. But it's not all about fluffy pillows and fancy coffee, right? What really stood out to me was how committed this guy is to staying on top of the latest stuff. Like, he trained with that Dr. Peter Dawson,
Yeah.
the bite correction and TMJ guy. Big name in the field. And get this, Dr. Mormino even developed his own technique for tooth replacement. He calls it Smiles Tomorrow.
Now, that is really interesting. He's not just using the latest techniques. He's actually coming up with his own. And that says a lot about how dedicated he is to, giving his patients the best possible care.
And the Smiles Tomorrow thing, that really got my attention. It's basically like, imagine going from, ugh, I hate my smile, to feeling totally confident all in a day.
It's a huge change from how they used to do it, that's for sure. Those old methods could take forever. And, well, let's just say they weren't always the most fun.
Yeah.
And this is where that training with Dr. Dawson really comes in. Dawson was all about a holistic approach, looking at your jaw, the muscles, how your teeth fit together, not just one tooth at a time.
So it's more about seeing the big picture, not just slapping on a crown and calling it a day, right? This Smiles Tomorrow technique must be a part of that somehow. Okay, so how does this Smiles Tomorrow thing even work? Is it like some kind of dental magic trick? What's the secret?
Well, not magic exactly, though I guess it could seem that way if you're used to, the old way of doing things. Basically, Smiles Tomorrow. It's like a super advanced approach to doing implants. It uses all this digital technology and, of course, Dr. Mormino's, deep knowledge of how bites work.
So less pulling a rabbit out of a hat and more like high-tech dentistry.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And remember how we were talking about Dr. Dawson and how he was all about the whole, masticatory system, everything working together? Well, that's really important here. See, with the old way of doing implants, they were mostly focused on just, like, replacing that one missing tooth, right?
Yeah.
But the Smiles Tomorrow technique, it takes everything into account. So the implant works perfectly with your bite, and how your jaw moves, all that.
That sounds like something you really need an expert for. It's not like you can just learn this stuff online.
Absolutely. You need to know a lot about the biomechanics of teeth and all that. And this is where Dr. Mormino's experience really makes a difference. And here's something really cool. He actually has his own dental lab right there in the office.
Wait, hold on. He has a whole lab, right there?
Yep. A whole lab. And not just any lab. It's got all the latest digital dentistry tech you can imagine. So he can oversee everything himself, every little detail of how they make the implants.
Wow. Okay. I'm starting to see why his patients love this guy.
Oh.
But for those of us who haven't spent much time in a dental lab, what difference does it really make to have it right there in the office?
Okay, imagine you're getting a custom-made suit, right? You want the tailor who's taking your measurements and everything to be the one making the suit, right? Not just sending your measurements off to some factory somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. I want the tailor who's going to make sure it fits perfectly.
Exactly. And that's what having an on-site lab is like for dentistry. Dr. Mormino can be really hands-on, making adjustments and changes on the fly, and making sure you get something that not only looks totally natural, but really works the way it should with your bite.
And no more waiting weeks for your permanent crown to come in while you're stuck with that temporary one.
And it cuts out all that back and forth between the dentist and a separate lab. You know how it is. All that sending things back and forth just leads to mistakes and delays.
So it's faster, it's more personalized, and everybody's on the same page. Sounds like a win-win-win.
You got it. But, at the end of the day, it's not really about the technology or any of that. It's about the people,
Yeah.
right? Like, what kind of experience are these patients having? And that's where those testimonials come in.
Oh, yeah, those testimonials. It's like reading fan mail. What are they saying?
I've been looking through them, and you see words like life-changing and amazing all over the place. And it seems like it's not just about the results, although they clearly love their new smiles, but it's the whole experience.
Yeah.
They feel listened to.
Okay, so what are these patients actually saying? What kind of words are we talking about here?
Well, you see a lot of like life-changing, transformative, that kind of thing. Yeah. And it's not just about, liking how their teeth look now, though. I mean, they definitely love their new smiles. But it's more than that. They talk about the whole experience, like they felt heard, understood.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Like, were there any stories that really jumped out at you from those testimonials?
Yeah, there was one. It was from a woman named Paulina. She actually flies in from Florida like several times a year just to see Dr. Mormino.
Wow, no way.
Yeah. She said she used to like totally dread going to the dentist, but now she actually looks forward to it.
Wow.
Right. That's got to mean something.
Yeah, talk about trust. It really shows you how important it is to feel comfortable with your doctor, your dentist, whoever it is.
Yeah. It makes a huge difference. And it goes back to what we were talking about, right? It's about recognizing that everybody's different. Everybody's got their own anxieties and concerns. And it seems like Dr. Mormino really gets that, Like he understands that creating that positive, supportive environment can really make or break the whole experience for somebody.
And let's be real. If you're totally terrified of the dentist, you're probably not going to go as often as you should, right?
Exactly. But when you feel good about it,
Yeah.
when you trust your dentist, you're way more likely to actually take care of your teeth, which, let's face it, is important for your overall health, right?
Totally. So it's like this chain reaction, right? It all starts with feeling good in the dentist chair.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about this. It's like Dr. Mormino is showing everybody that a dental practice can be about more than just, fixing teeth. It can be about like taking care of the whole person.
It really changes how you think about what to look for in a healthcare provider in general, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe those comfy chairs and the fancy coffee. Maybe it's not just a gimmick after all.
Right. Maybe it's about like showing people that you care about their whole experience.
Yeah.
Showing a little empathy, making that human connection. That stuff matters.
Oh, folks, there you have it. A deep dive into the world of Staten Island dentistry. Who knew? It could be so fascinating, right?
You never know what you're going to find. There are interesting stories everywhere if you just look for them.
And it sounds like Dr. Mormino is definitely one of those interesting stories. This deep dive has really got me thinking about, what I look for in a healthcare provider. It's given me a lot to think about, that's for sure. Thanks for joining us on this journey, everybody. And remember, a healthy smile, it all starts with finding a dentist who makes you feel good. Until next time.